Good morning and welcome. I'm Bob Pace, and I'm here to fight CPS and to keep your children. I'm trying a new background, seeing if this will work better. I've been told the previous backgrounds we've been using aren't all that great. So we have a double background. I have one that is produced by the producer, and then I have my secondary background, um, which hopefully this may work. I need input and so forth on that. I want to give a warm welcome to everybody that is coming to the room for the first time or has been here before. You've reached the right place. I've been involved in CPS for 15 years, the Child Protection System. I call CPS the Child Protection System. And it's a podcast that broadcasts live from Southern California. And you found me on Facebook, and I'm broadcast on YouTube using the StreamYard application. Now, I like to talk about how they interact with this podcast. So, four ways you can interact. One way is to be in this room. One way is to be in this room. And just by listening and seeing what's going on, you'll learn a lot about your case and how to get your children back and how to do things that will hurt you not to do the things you've been alleged to have been done something bad and CPS has gotten involved. Most likely they have think your children in imminent danger and have taken your children and trafficked them to foster care. That is a no-no. We don't want to traffic them to foster care. Um, a second way to participate in this podcast is to text and comments. Now, there's a place you can put down comments, but it's very important that your comments are CPS questions. I know there's a lot in this world that we can talk about, but I'm here to talk about the child protection system and ways to keep your children or get your children back and how to fight them. I'm not a attorney. I'm just a loving father and a dad of six children and been married for 32 years. Um, and I've had the experience, first knowledge of what you're all going through, and I've been through where you guys are. I know exactly what you're going through, and I will try to help you. Now, please show your name, city, state, or country, and be complete with your CPS case. Be complete with your CPS case. Reason why I say the country is because we have people from around the world that have called in. We've had as far way as Bangladesh, and then New Delhi, India, next to Bangladesh, and then we have Africa, the continent of Africa. We've had a South African province called in, and then we've had Mozambique, which is opposite Madagascar, a little island off Africa on the east side, and then we have Rwanda, which is a small country, um, Central East Africa, near Lake Victoria, and they went through a really disastrous time in their life in the 90s. They had over 1 million people uh, terminated, and then over 400,000 women raped. And it was a horrific thing that happened, but they've recovered like anything else in the world. We all seem to recover when things go bad. And then further in Africa, up in northern Africa on the coast of Liberia, there's a gentleman named Archie who has talked about scouting and what he has done and how CPS there is in Liberia. Then we go to Europe, and I've talked to England, Scotland, Wales, the United Kingdom, and I've also talked to Denmark and Sweden. And I was really surprised about Denmark and Sweden because you'd think they have no problems with the CPS, the Child Protection System. Then across the pond in North America, I've talked to both coasts in Canada several times. Not talk, but text messages back and forth. And then all the 50 states, including Washington, D.C., I've talked to. That's over 500 people that I've talked to since October. And then we go down to Mexico and actually had someone that actually called in from Mexico, a father looking for his girls in Louisiana. Then across the Pacific, the land down under Australia. And they're the last group that has talked to me and explained what their situation with the CPS system is. Also, be very complete with your CPS case. Make sure that you start off with your makeup of your family. Is it a husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, lovers, partnership? What is your family like? Is it single parents or is it both parents participating? Are the children from the same parents or from different parents? That's important to know. Then the ages, the sexes of the children, and then what you did, the neglect or the abuse that you've been allegedly charged with. And on top of that, um, where you're at on the charges, what you were charged with neglect, abuse, or both, and you give more details about that. And then also, how were your children? Were they taken right away? Were they in extreme danger? Did you surrender them? Did you let them in your home? Did you talk to them? Those kinds of things I need to know. And then last, where you at on your case? Are you at the beginning or the back? So that would be complete. Otherwise, I end up playing ping pong ball with you. Now, a third way that you can interact with this podcast is that you can be a guest on the podcast. I have a producer. Her name is Grace. She works hard behind the scenes, and she helps me and keeps the podcast going and so forth. She also will help you get on the podcast. All you have to do is email her. I'm on 14 times a week, 7 days a week, morning and evening. I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time, except for Sunday, I'm on at 8. And then I'm on at 7 o'clock at night. And with that being said, um, you just pick, Bob's Monday evening show or Bob's Wednesday morning show or Bob's Saturday evening show. So you email her. Her email is grace at vincentwdavis.com. Grace at vincentdavis.com. And she can be reached there. And then she will help you, give you the link to SteamYard and help you get on the show, tell you what you can do, such as no smoking or eating. Also, we don't use names on the show. So it's important that you email it. I mean, it's really nice because I love to have you as a co-host and talk about your case. That's happened a lot of times there. Um, the last thing that you can is to call me. You can call me at 526 That's my office number, and I'll answer it during the show hours. I'll answer it during the show hours, and you can talk on the show. I'll put you on speakerphone. It works really nice and easy there. We have someone that come in our room. Her name is Shy Ann Marie Williams. She says she's currently fighting a CPS case, how to get my case closed if it was wrongfully opened. Okay. Um, Her name is Cheyenne Williams. I'm in Destin, Ohio. I had a CPS case open back in 2018. They got it closed in 2023. My children was adopted out. I had another baby in 24 and got to come home with her. And CPS came to my house a few weeks after being home and said my baby tested positive for drugs. I have the notes from the social worker from the hospital stating that the mother was clean my whole pregnancy. Wow, that's so hard. What is your makeup of your family? Do you have, are you married, your husband, wife? Or what's your makeup, your family? And is father's, the daughter's father still involved? If you want to call in, you're welcome to call in. But let me put my phone number back up. Yeah, there we go. So I'm glad that you shared your case with us, Cheyenne, and she's welcome from Ohio, from Destin, Ohio. Um, Let me see where some of my regular room people are because have to notify them because Facebook doesn't notify them timely or sometimes not at all. Hmm. Okay, I just notified Faye in Richmond, Kentucky. She's the wonderful mother. She was brought up in the child protection system. Her mother was terrible towards her. She had two children, and one at an early age was taken from her because of her involvement in foster care as a small child. They'll do that, though. They'll do that so bad. I also notified Danielle in Georgia. She was my co host, but she's had some computer issues. So, okay, so I've notified the people there. We have, um, right now, if you can call in Cheyenne Marie, you can call it right now. The phone is open. The phone is open. Mm. Got some good news. Got some money you can eat now. You get some food, and it feels a lot better when you get some food in you. After 10 days, it's hard to go with no food. It's really hard. And I'm still fighting that car situation, mine. Got a ticket yesterday. No matter what I do, they seem to always want to ticket the cars. People, it's so weird. I live in a community that is so anal about tickets. I mean, someone just will call in and right away the police officer come out and issue a ticket. So I do help Cheyenne fight CPS cases. On my podcast, I do. Mr. Davis, who's my attorney, does do a podcast, and he will fight your case. And that leads me into rule number one. Rule number one is you need to have an attorney with the Child Protection Agency. They're just like doing open heart surgery. That's how tough it is. You have terrible time trying to navigate. You're like Alice in Wonderland falling in the rabbit hole, and you go into these rooms where they say off with your head, and you don't know where you're at or what you're doing. That is your CPS workers for you. Just like a doctor goes to medical school and gets a lot of training, internship, and a mentor, and before he starts opening surgery on the heart, you need a lawyer. And the lawyer I'm talking about is Vincent W. Davis. He's been practicing law for 35 years. He's been fighting CPS, and he has one case has gotten children back. He's a trial attorney, and also he does civil lawsuits against CPS and has won millions of dollars in both federal and state court. So it's very important that you talk to him because right now he'll do a strategy session of 30 minutes for $60. 30 minutes for $60. He'll talk to you and uh, the consultation and everything. If you like him, you can also ask about his retainer and he can represent you. He works in all the states, including Northern California, but he works primarily out of Southern California. So, Cheyenne, you're welcome to call in right now if you want. Um, and I'll do my best to help you with your CPS case. But talk to Vincent Davis because here's the problem: is everybody says, "Oh, you get a lawyer when you have a CPS case." Well, the problem with the lawyer, it's a court appointed lawyer in dependency court. They're not paid very much, and they have a caseload of 30 or more clients. They don't have time for your case. They won't fight. They look for the easiest way out. They're friends with the children's attorney, the social workers' attorneys, the judge, and so forth. And so you got to be careful. I'm not saying do not use them, but just be prepared because once you have an attorney representing you in court, you can't talk before the judge. You can't tell the things you want to say. So if they're not fighting for you, your case is doomed. It is doomed, and you will lose your children. So my rule number one is to get an attorney. It has to be somebody like Vincent W. Davis. He is a juvenile family dependency law attorney, a professional, and he's someone that you're glad you have. I'm glad I have because he got back my children when I hired them. Oh boy. Mm. Cheyenne, Marie, are you going to call in or should I open it up to anybody else? If anybody'd like to call in, the number is 626-698-0990. Mm. Um, Mm. Sandy and Cheyenne, you coming on, or do you have another question you want to text me? Um, I cannot believe if you taste a negative, they'd still take away your child. I'm going to go ahead and talk about rule number three. One was about getting an attorney. Three is the part that people mess up. I myself do. There's only three ways they can entrance your house, either the CPS or the police. The first way is they can ask your permission. And if they give their permission, they can enter your home. You should not give them permission. Your home is your castle and you need to protect it. If you let them in, they're going to go fishing, rumble through everything, and try to find something against you. So you don't want them in there. The second way they can gain entrance, if there's a bad case of imminent danger with the children, like domestic violence, or people fighting with weapons, or they're slamming the child physically and hurting the child, then the police and the social workers can come in the home to stop that and to uh, calm the situation down. Now, the third way is that it has to be with a warrant, a police, I mean, it has to be with a court document, a warrant. And the warrant's got to be very explicit. It's got to be signed by the judge, a wet signature with a boss stamp. That means it's not a copy. It's got to be a, you know, you can tell when it's a copy or not because you just feel the paper where the stamp is. It should feel some bumps. Also, the warrant has to be very explicit. It should say who they're addressing it to. It's the husband, wife, both names got to be on there. Then it's got to be the children listed, and then the allegations got to be listed. Then after that, they got to have the address of where they can come and enter it, and the date and time they can come and enter. And then after that, they got to have specific directions of what they can do. Can they talk to you? Can they enter your home? Can they take your children? So all that's got to be on the warrant. It's got to be official looking document. Copies are not official documents. And don't be fooled because on the weekend judges are not there and they can't issue a warrant. So they may say they're going to get a warrant, but they don't have it. So that's why you have to be awful careful letting your home. Another reason I don't want you to let anybody in your home is you could be killed. We recently have had several people more in the news, but one was a recent last week. A black lady had let these two cops come into her home, and the guy started talking to her, and it escalated, and he pulled out a gun and shot her in the face 5 times, killed her. Of course, he was right away fired, and he's been charged with manslaughter. You know, police are not perfect; they're very much emotional. But that was terrible. And then another incident a month ago, back in May 3rd, was a black man. He's a veteran, a young boy. He's 24 years old, 23 years old. And he had a nice career in the Air Force. And he was home in his nice apartment, very, very safe apartment. And this sheriff from Gainesville Sheriff Station came, knocked on the door a bunch of times, said nothing. He thought it was something bad, so he came to the door, and he had a gun pointing down, but he had a license to carry the gun. And this policeman didn't say anything else but shot him 5 times, point blank. And he died on FaceTime, which is that video, audio, telephone call with his girlfriend. It's all recorded. It's sad because you can watch him die. It's just wrong. Just wrong. It was a mistaken place. It was his place to begin with anyway. But there are two incidents recently about why I say don't open your door. You don't want to deal with them. They have really bad news. If you're outside and they happen to be in the area, you can tell them that you need to see your attorney or talk to your attorney first before you go any further. Again, you don't have to let them into your apartment, and don't let them take your children. They got to have a warrant for that. And so you need to hang on to your children. I know it's hard because you think the police and the CPS are doing what is right or what is best, but a lot of times they get caught up in their abuse of power. I don't know what it is, but so I'm telling you, don't talk to them if they're outside. Just say, I need a timeout. I need to talk to my attorney before it gets too much later. And that way you can get time to talk to your attorney and break away, do a timeout. They should honor that. We should honor that. So anyway, um, it's the answer is yes, no answers with them. You don't need to tell them the story. I did it. It's a mistake. You don't need to tell them the story. So learn to say no to the police and to the child protection system, and learn to not let them take you out of your home. All the time they're going to accuse you of something and they're going to want to take your children, and they're not in imminent danger, but they think they are, and so they got to take them. And I think that's wrong. Hey, welcome, Faye. Thank you, Faye. Faye went over what I was talking to you earlier about an attorney, and she knows her stuff well. So, yeah, we're not attorneys. We can just give advice. We have many years of experience. I've been trying to get Cheyenne, who's from Ohio, to open more about her case. She said that she had a previous case where children were taken, and then she had a new daughter born. She had her baby home, and then CPS wanted to take her baby because they said they found drugs. She has a hospital report, and the social workers are not recognizing it. I don't know if her husband's still involved with her baby or not. But anyway, I'm glad you're here, Faye. Is there something you'd like to talk about that would be helpful? How about that new thing you're telling me the other day about the Department of Washington, D.C.? D.C. that is. It's the Department of Human Services, I think, that you're um, we're talking about that manages the branch of CPS. But I do know that Washington D.C. is corrupt. I do know that, Faye, because we had a mother on here that had a new home in the HUD program, and she asked this young man of 17 if he could help her with groceries upstairs, and said he'd give her $5. And what the guy did is he let his gang members hit her back door, and they raped her. Not only that, she was in police custody, taken to a hotel, and she was raped again. She was raped again. It's really, 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 really tough. Now, I'm looking at, let's see where it is here. I'm looking at the Department of Human Services. I think that's what you told me the other day. Who maybe we could sit there and make a grievance to. It's DHS, and maybe they can help there. It says, "Welcome to the Department of Human Services. Apply, complete a new application. Apply now. I need to. What's happening at DHS? Um, there's general inquiries, protect your benefits." It's a pretty interesting program there, but I don't see where it says to do a complaint against the state or the county's DCS, the CPS. It says the mission of the DC Department of Human Services is to empower every district residents to research their full potential, providing meaningful connection to work opportunities, economic assistance, support service. Wow, they give an organizational chart. That's good. They have the director, assistant to the director, chief of staff, chief operation, program support, general things, social service administration, chief administration officer. Oh, that's the organizational chart. Okay. Here's here's a way to submit a concern. Submit a concern or file an appeal. Wow. Stolen benefits, fraud, suggestion, complaint, unusual incidents. I wonder if we can put our complaint here against our CPS in all the states here. Shows you how to file appeal. So maybe this is there. Needs to give a phone number. So it's not too bad here. Not too bad. Faye, are you still hearing me okay? Faye, am I coming through okay? Yeah, that's where I'm at the U.S. Health and Human Services. Hi, Lori. Um, I guess you're in here, the room to say respects to William Mullins. Um, Okay, I see the link. I have the link too, but when I click the link here, it won't go to it. But I am looking at the link, and so it's looks like you could do an appeal there. So that is a good thing. That's one of the hardest things about CPS. Y'all listen is you're dealing with an agency that's very corrupt. They're not transparent. There was 8 social workers. Hello, Christina Renzo. She said she did a fax and then received a letter from the Department of Human Services in 1994. Then in June, later on, that letter was referral to talk to someone. I was told if I can finish what I'm doing to give it to them and they can prove stuff, things will be made right. Wow, that sounds good, Christina. That's really good news. Um, Going back to my rule number 3, I was talking about ending the home and stuff. I didn't quite finish that because um, besides refusal to let them in your home and stuff like that, there's a thing called medical trafficking. And with medical trafficking, it's really hard because you go to the emergency room, your child's quite sick, and then you talk to a CPS worker and they start asking questions. You got really careful because they hang out there. Don't talk to CPS workers there. Don't discuss your issues with your child. I really say you got to be careful because they will take your child. In fact, ladies going to get pregnant, again, don't talk to the case workers because they're going to try to take your child and drum up a false accusation that you tested positive. They're very corrupt. As I was telling about these 8 social workers in Prescott, Arizona, in the year 2020, 2022, 2022, they decided to get smart and they bought pink T-shirts and had stenciled on the front "professional child kidnappers." On the back, they said, "Do you know where your kids are at?" And they wore these, paraded around at at Target, Walmart, and Costco, and really, um, it really caused them a really bad uh, experience to parents because you can imagine seeing that, and that's the attitude of social workers for the child protection system. Thank you, Faye. That was really good. The step by step link. Parents need that. Um, Another case of social workers was a social worker that was out of Chicago, Illinois, and they had on their Facebook page an ad. Well, the ad was kind of strange because it's from 1848, and it was an ad for black children for sale. It actually said the N word, but we're not supposed to say that here. But black children for sale, and that was 10 years before the Civil War and 140 years ago. And why she ran this ad, I have no idea. She's a black woman herself, a social worker. Why would she run an ad to 2024 black children for sale? I mean, it doesn't even pertain. It's not even an up-to-date ad. It's an ad from 1848. So again, that shows you the kind of social workers are. Faye can tell you about how bad the social workers are in Kentucky. There's many cases of them doing illegal stuff, and they get away with it. They get away with it, which is a shame. Which is really a shame. Um, Another social worker, uh, Christine, uh, her daughter was approached by a man social worker doing an investigation about her in CPS matters at school, and the mother wasn't notified or told to come to school. And this man proceeded to ask the school, "I need to be alone time with this girl," and that is a red flag because social workers don't. You want to be at least in teams of two when you're dealing with children because they come back to say things that are terrible. Well, this man was a pedophile, and he took naked pictures. He told her to take her top off and took naked pictures. And that's your social worker. That's a typical social worker. And you're probably saying, "Come on, not all are bad." Well, it seems like I talked to. I'm only talking two social workers that that I've that have talked to me. One was Carol from um, Maryland, who talked for a good 40 minutes, and she was really candid about things and was a horror was surprised about the horrible things I was saying about social workers. Another one was a third party social worker, Carol from she was Illinois and Indiana, and she talked for a good half an hour about things, how bad they were and stuff. So I'm telling you, these social workers are horrible. My social worker was the worst. She actually had my daughter do revenge. She wanted to do revenge. Our social worker, who was very inexperienced, didn't have a license or a degree, and she had been embarrassed in court because she was put on the witness stand to testify about how good that these parents were. They were adopting our daughter. They were trying to adopt her daughter. They were my wife's sister and husband. And she was asked a question: had there been any domestic violence with this couple? She said no. He's a wonderful parent, stuff like that. Well, sure enough, my attorney Vincent Davis brought out a whole list of police activities, um, police reports showing numerous times that there was domestic violence. And so she lied at the witness stand, and she was trying to do revenge. And that being the revenge, it was bad. It was bad. So she told me and my wife that because of her being embarrassed by our attorney, Vincent Davis, that she can make sure you'll never see her daughter again. And so what she did is she she said you're going to divorce your parents, emancipate from them, change your name, seal your birth certificate, and be adopted by foster care. And she did all that. It was horrible. It was horrible. It was horrible. Um, so social workers are a dime a dozen. Very few are very good. I mean, I've yet to hear anybody really. I mean, I've only had two social workers on here, and you would think that they would call. You would think they would call. Oh, sorry for a little background noise, but outside and I got people nearby. They're excited, I guess. But I have two more rules I can go over. I didn't talk about rule number 2, which is the paperwork of things. It's very important you organize your paperwork and get yourself an 8.5 by 11-inch 8.5 by 11, and you end up get a 3-ring binder, and then you can keep all your paperwork in one spot. I kept mine on little pieces of paper, post-it notes, and everything else. So it was really tough. So um, you also want to fill full of college rule notebook paper, and then have tabs. And one of the most important uh, tabs is going to be incidents. And your incidents are things that have happened related to your children or with the police or CPS. You list the date, the time, the location, and the people involved in the first line. The second line, you describe what the incident was, and on the third line, you do the outcome. If you don't know the outcome, you may have to come back later and fill it out. You may have to fill it out. No, Cheyenne never called in. I opened it up to her, but she never called in. I've been checking my phone. We have about 4 minutes left of the show here, so didn't call in there. Now, with your paperwork, you can use highlighters to highlight it and stuff, and that will help you if you arrange your paper, your court documents, punch holes, your parenting classes, certificates, your program classes, your drug rehab, your tests, everything. Put everything in one notebook and keep it all together, and that way you'll have it together and stuff. So that's rule number 2. The rule number 4 is the easy one. Is where you go, and it's not easy, but you have to spend at least 40, 60 hours to learn everything is about CPS in your county. You want to learn all there is, because the internet is the power that will grant you success in getting your kids back. It'll help get your kids back. So those are the 4 rules. Yeah, you can call in any time. There's no question about it. My phone is still open. I have 10 minutes left on my phone here. 10 minutes left of the show. So I don't know if you're still there, Cheyenne Marie, but I guess it's okay. If you don't want to call in, you can call in tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or tomorrow morning again. So, um, Thank you, Christina. I appreciate. Well, thank you, Christina. It is hard. It's hard. All of us are going through trials and tribulations, and I didn't think I'd be going through it at this time of my life. Anyway, I have to uh, get a job soon because I got to get myself out of my situation. I need to get a real job, and hopefully, I can find one um, that can help me with my car situation, and I can take care of my family and so forth. Okay, we have about 5 minutes left. Um, Let me see. I talked about the rules. I probably haven't talked about ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act, and that really come to light recently because Shannon, who has been calling in, is an Oklahoma reservation, the Cherokee, and she is going through a terrible time with the Indian tribe. Now, what the Indian Child Welfare Act was done in 1978, and in 1978 they made it so that after 100 years, instead of children, Indian children being adopted all the time and foster care giving them up, they made um, the CPS, the Child Protective System, turn them over and and have them um, raised by, well, go with the tribe, and the tribe puts them with the Indian family. And that's better because before CPS just arbitrarily put Indian children in for adoption. They've been doing that since 1875 when the tribes were starting to be put on reservations. And the Cherokee Nation seemed to be very corrupt there. And it was really sad that she's fighting with an agency that's supposed to help. So there is some confusion with that one particular tribe. The Lakota Sioux and Rosebud, South Dakota, are a good tribe, so we shouldn't have to worry about them or anything. Um, but if you're an Indian, you need to have CPS. Try to register you or find out if you're registered. There's 548 tribes. There's 548 tribes. And federal recognized tribes. So the ICWA is supposed to protect the American Indian children. Now they're the first immigrants. The American Indians were to North America. They came the way of the land bridge off Alaska and Siberia. And um, it's really important that you contact the Indian tribe if you're American Indian because it's still better to be in the Indian tribe families than with CPS. CPS is really bad news. They're nothing more than liars, and you know they yesterday Faye and I were discussing the amount of money. They're in the $1 trillion range now. Uh, I had said that they made $80 billion a year, but geez, they're making more. It's a money thing. That's why they're so corrupt. That's why they're so corrupt. They're giving bonuses and money all the time. My kids, while they're in the Orange County CPS, was uh, they're being paid $20,000 per child. There's 3 children. That's $60,000 per month. If you take 100 families with 3 children, that's $6 million per month. $6 million per month for 300 children is really a lot of money. Really a lot of money. But they seem to be doing it. Um, anyway, I'm getting ready to wind down the show because we're slowly approaching 60 minutes. I talked a little bit over my time by a little bit. Um, and I look forward to seeing you all tonight at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. For you guys on the East Coast, that's 10 o'clock. That's 10 o'clock on the East Coast. And I want to thank Christine Reynosa for um, being supportive and being here. Faye, likewise. Faye is a remarkable lady from um, Richmond, Kentucky. And I want to thank her for all she does. Lori Hiller just says a name when she comes in. She doesn't say anything. I don't know where she's from, but I appreciate her in the room. And then Cheyenne Marie Williams was somebody new from Ohio, and Desden, Ohio. And she has a terrible case where her latest baby was taken from her because CPS is saying there's no drugs. So I want to tell you guys, um, thank you very much for the emojis. God bless you. Don't give up. Keep fighting for your children. This is Bob Pace signing off.